or too much that you can give to help the cause of justice. So we really appreciate all that you do. Of course, we always invite you to tour the website, and for those of you that are watching online, again, there's information there with regard to our upcoming Triumph Award broadcast on TV1 on October 3rd, and of course, Politics Nation on MSNBC on October 4th. So tour the website, bring yourself up to date, get ready, get in the action, be prepared.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome. We're back. We're here. We're at the House of Justice for the Saturday Action Rally right here at 106 West 145th Street, coming to you on WLIB 1190 AM. I'd like you to get on your feet right now for the hardest working man in social justice, the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Hug the person next to you and tell them you love them. Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. For you that are here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, or you that are watching live stream on www.nationalactionnetwork.net around the country, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Harder, and our musical director, Brother Brevon Neal. Let me, before getting into our messages and concerns today, let me emphasize 3 announcements. One is that on next Saturday night,
next Saturday, October 3rd, which is my birthday, by the way, is next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. For you watching Central Time, 7 p.m., will be the National Action Network's Triumph Awards. The first time it's televised this year. John Legend and T.I. and Wanda Sykes and other stars are going to be a part of National Action Network's Triumph Awards. These awards are our cultural and entertainment awards. We've been doing it for the last 5 years, but this is the first time it's televised. We want everybody to watch the Triumph Awards and support TV1. TV1 is broadcasting it next week. Now, we're going to have a watch party here at the House of Justice on starting at 7:30, so at 8 we can watch it. You that want to come and watch it here, you that didn't pay your cable bill, and come up here and watch with everybody else. I shouldn't say that. I don't want y'all to be scared to come look like you didn't pay your bill. Y'all just come. But on next Saturday at 7:30, October 3rd, I want everybody to watch it. If I can get half the folk to watch the National Action Network Triumph Award that watched me for a minute on Empire the other night. I didn't know so many folk watched that stuff. Folk that I went to elementary school was texting me about Empire. But if I get half of them to watch the Triumph Awards, it will be a big showing for both the network and TV1, which is a black-owned station.
That's right.
So I want everybody to mark that down next Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And I want to emphasize that. Secondly, next Sunday morning, week from tomorrow, October 4th, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton goes back on the air at 8 a.m. And I want everybody tuned in. We're gonna change how they do Sunday morning talk shows. You know, Face the Nation and Meet the President all set the tone for the week. And Politics Nation, we're gonna set the tone for them and for the week as joining the Sunday morning lineups. We've already got some surprises for you starting the first week. I want everybody tuned in. The other thing is that I want you to go to theshiftdaily.com, theshiftdaily.com, the site for the millennials. Now, they have a contest on there on the Millennial Activist of the Year. And it is their idea that we should honor some of the young activists that never get saluted, that are really doing work around the country. So if you know some young millennial that has caught your eye, could be through the media, could be through social media, could be in your church, in your school, in your neighborhood, we want you to nominate them, and we're going to salute the top 3 and give them some cash support for their activism. So go to theshiftdaily.com. One of the things that comes to mind, I was talking in my office this morning with Minister Kirsten Foy and Minister Kevin McCall. You have 2 sets, or you probably have more than 2, but at least 2 sets of and forms of activism. You have those that do the work, and then you have those that come out after the work is done and take the credit. a lot of the young folks that are out there are not the young folks that started and did the moving and the movement. Esau, Eric Gardner's wife, here every week. She's here this morning, and Gwen, Eric Gardner's mother, will tell you everybody out there that's carrying on about what the movement's doing were not in Staten Island. When we started, they came in after we made the cause big, but they were not there. And I think the young folk that helped to start the Hands Up, Don't Shoot, and I Can't Breathe movement, like Kirsten, like they were out there the first week, the first Saturday, and kept coming. Senator Davis every week. Those people ought to be saluted. That does not mean those that came later should not be respected, but don't do it at the disrespect of those that started. You can't show up later and then ask why everybody else is out there, because they're out there because they were there first. Hello. Because there have been issues since then that a lot of us didn't get involved in, and you ain't heard from them. Everybody that can, you know, one of the things Janae Ingram, our executive director, wrote about, we are glad to see social media activism, but if you don't have folk on the ground, you're not gonna get anything done. Hello. So it's not that we need one or the other, you need both hands. And I think that that's why I want you to go to shiftdaily.com and vote for some young activists. And we want to encourage them. Now, I want to sadly announce the passing of my friend, minister, radio host, who many years kept the fire burning in New York, Reverend Del Shields. Many of you remember Del Shields from WWRL. He and Donna used to do the morning show. And many of our fights in the 80s and the 90s would not have happened had not Del Shields and Donna not got on the air and stood with us through Bensonhurst and Central Park and many of the cases. And his wake and funeral will be later this week. We'll post it on the website. I'm doing I think it's before I go, they got me going. We got the next to South Africa and Cuba, but I'll make sure, I think it's before I go, but I want all of us represented at the passing and the homegoing, rather, of Del Shields. Now, and I'll get all the information, as I said. We do not have it yet, but I will post it on our website. Now, on the 18th of September, there was an incident in Brooklyn that led to the death of Dexter Walters. When the police report was submitted, they said that they heard of an accident of a motorcyclist ahead. Later, they come back and said they found out that the police report was inaccurate and that the police may have been involved in chasing Dexter. Now, right away, the family and his father and sisters here, stand up, give them a hand. And babies, his companions, y'all stand up. First thing is, he is not some worthless person. He's a person with a family and loved ones. And his family is as concerned about the value of his life and what happened in his life than anybody else would be about their family. Anytime the police start switching up reports, that alone is a red flag. Secondly, there are too many people in the neighborhood that said what they said did not happen. And that what was being reported did not happen. And that there was police involvement in what led to his death. I was, as many of you know, on the road most of this week. But Kirsten Ford and Kevin McCall, two young ministers, one runs the Northeast, the other that runs our crisis department here, kept me informed as I was moving around. I want to make it clear that the prosecutors and the police department cannot play games with this family. We, as an organization, are 1,000% behind the pursuit of justice for Dexter Walters. We want to know what happened, and we want those responsible for any wrongdoing, if it is the case, to be held accountable to the maximum of whatever and wherever this occurred. So I'm real happy that we have built some leadership that I don't have to be everywhere and people had to wait for me for us to move. They went through and the funeral, they organized and they're doing a motorcade to Brooklyn today. But I want this family to know that this entire organization is behind what Minister Ford and McCall is doing. Are we with Dexter Walters' family? Are we with the Walters family? Are we with the Walters family? All right. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
All right. Something that I want to make clear as we ask about what happened to Walters, and as we deal with this, we don't know whether the prosecutor is going to be the Kings County prosecutor to investigate or the AG. But what we do know, we got a special prosecutor now that the mothers of victims and Nan and others were able to get. We do know that we're going to be all on them to find out the truth of what happened to this case. So I want his father and his companions to know, and they can talk to the gardeners that's sitting next to them. If we get involved in the case, we'll be there until the end. We're gonna ride or die with you. I get folk call me now that said, you told me when the cameras was gone I wouldn't hear from folk, and they just call you when they want you for their events. But they don't care nothing about you when you need help. I need you at this event. I need you at this rally. Okay, but I need to do so-and-so. Well, call Rep. Mal about that, but I need you for this event. We believe in working with you from the minute till, otherwise I ain't gonna get in it. And I ain't gonna let them get us in it, because we must stand by families, because the accused officers or the alleged officers have unions to go to. Families don't have anywhere to go unless there's a National Action Network or civil rights group. So we are with this investigation or demand for one of the Walters family and support Kirsten John Ford and Reverend McCall as they do the motorcade today. Let me, in reporting this week, last week, one of the things I want y'all to look for is the HBO's coming out with a special documentary or film called Vice. It's President Obama's jailhouse visit. First sitting president to go to a jail, and talked about the mass incarceration problem and how we just lock people up. And at first it started because of the crack epidemic, and many of us said, well, we got to do something about it. But then they just ratcheted up into the war on drugs and started locking everything and everybody up, and it became a war on us. And I want y'all to see that. I went last week to the White House to see it. The president was there, and this mass incarceration battle is not only a question of how they manipulate and maneuver the judicial process, it breaks up families. It tears up families innocently, because many fathers are in jail because they could not afford the right defense. Now, some folk need to be in jail. I ain't soft on some of you that do wrong. That's why Sister Cora and what she does and as part of NAN and what her group she founded speaks every Saturday on the air. We're not soft on you that do wrong. But those that didn't do wrong and find themselves incarcerated, you got over 2 million people in jail, more than anywhere in the world, in the civilized world. That's a problem. And I want y'all to see that. And then last week, when I went from there, went to the Congressional Black Caucus, he dealt with that there. I dealt with that in my little cameo on Empire the other night, mass incarceration. And one of the reasons I did it is because they wanted to focus on how they treat us like animals. And I told her, you're absolutely right. She plays Cookie. Taraji Henson. And Taraji, I told Taraji, I said, now I'll tell y'all now, many of you know Lee Daniels and those that are the directors and conceivers of Empire was at our national convention. And I told them, I'll do the cameo and I'm with y'all on the mass incarceration. But don't have me out here like I'm supporting Lucius, who y'all say is guilty. I ain't supporting nothing wrong. And they said, well, we should put that out there so folk will know that you don't just jump on everything. So that's what they put on. And they say that it was 16.5 million people watched the show. They called me and said, we got 16,750,000 broke records. I said, yeah, well, y'all had about 1.5 million. The 15.5 was watching me, I understand. But I didn't mind helping y'all out. See? But the issue of mass incarceration is a community-wide issue. And I think the president needs to be given credit for it. Now today the Pope is visiting inmates in jail in Pennsylvania. Now, let me tell you what's so important about today. We were down there yesterday as part of the religious leaders that met with the Pope and the service he did at the World Trade Center Memorial Museum. And as I sat there, I watched him speak yesterday. We're sitting there, the governor, the mayor, all of them, Senator Schumer. And then as I had watched the day before the speech he made in Congress, and I watched the speech he made at the White House, the White House ceremony. One of the things that was very interesting to me, a lot of folk will people call my radio show about the Pope. One thing that I respected is he raised issues that makes now the right wing have a problem in demonizing those of us that raise the same issues. First thing is he quoted everywhere Dr. King. Now, this organization, even in its mission statement, continues the work of Dr. King. I come out of the organization Dr. King founded. Y.T. Walker was Dr. King's executive director, the first chairman of the board of this organization. The whole question of Mrs. King working with us and Martin III. So I really was personally moved when he, out of all of the Americans he could name, kept mentioning Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now that was a social justice statement in itself. Because it also said that all over the world, people respect the movement that Dr. King represented. You got folk running around our community, well, I'm not with the King thing, I'm with this. Well, if the King thing got the world looking at our issue, then why you criticize? You can do whatever it is you want to do. But don't down what gave us a world platform. Hello. Second thing is he talked about issues of justice, climate change, immigration, materialism, stuff we talk about all the time. He talked about. So you gonna call the Pope marginal? You gonna call the Pope a radical? You gonna call the Pope wrong? He talked about some of the issues that we've been raising, poverty. To the Pope now, you can't have it both ways. And I saluted the fact that he had the courage to stand up and say what needed to be said in his first visit here to the United States. Give a hand, Pope Francis. There's so much division, polarization, till folk react to the dog whistles and the barks more than they react to the substance of what's said. And sometimes you need someone at a different level that can say something where people will stop and say, well, wait a minute, there is nothing wrong about that. And that was the value of what he had to say and what he dealt with. I preached in Petersburg, Virginia on Sunday, and then went on to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Monday night we opened up a chapter. And I tell you how polarized and crazy they got some of these folk. I went to Fort Wayne, Reverend Lynch, who's forming our chapter, a young man, 36 years old. And there'd been a lot of violence in the city. And Sister Cord, they were dealing with a shooting that even happened that afternoon. The Tea Party had a rally downtown against me coming to town. Ain't nobody showed up. 15, 20 folks showed up. But they all over the TV, Tea Party rally against Sharpton coming. So I told one of the reporters when I got to the church, there had several hundred people in the church, the local paper said 200, so you know that meant 6. The church could hold 5 and people stand outside, so I guess, you know how they undercount our rallies and overcount. So I'm sitting up there, I get to the church early after my radio show. They said they got a rally against you coming downtown. Show you how I'm showing you this polarization in this country. And I said, really? I said, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do they know why I'm here? I don't know. I said, well, why don't y'all go downtown and take your mic out? So you got it all recorded. And ask them, why is Sharpton here? And if they don't know why I am in town, how are they protesting me coming to town? I mean, we get so caught up in the mess that we never deal with the facts. Look, I remember when we had the big rally last year in Washington, and Justice for All, 40, 50,000 people. So when we got there, the families and I, some young folks said they wanted to be heard talking to the young folk. They jumped at kiss and all that. We want to be heard. First thing I said is, wait a minute, do you understand what this rally is for? What? We are here to say to the U.S. Senate that you've got to change the jurisdictional threshold on doing federal cases. Was that not the reason we marched? Amen. I said, are y'all here for that? Amen. Well, no, we didn't know nothing about that. Well, how you want to speak at a rally that you don't even understand the theme of the rally? Is it about you being seen? Or is this about the cause? Well, no, we were part of it or whatever, but this ain't that. We got all the families here. This ain't just one time. And we gotta go. But they will play you up, confront other young folk because they want the division when you're not even dealing with the issue. First thing I ask folk when they invite, Red Man, when you speak at our rally, what's the rally for? I don't show up to everything. Some of y'all just lonely and show up. I'm having a meeting, I'm having a get together. Oh, let me write it down. No, I ain't writing down nothing. You having a get together about what? I don't get together with everything. We having dinner. Well, what you serving? And who paying for it? I've never forget, a guy invited me years ago out to eat and thanked me and got him left me with the bill. Better get the details. But my point is, in this rush, in this polarized, everybody take a side, nobody making sense, which leads you right into why you can have a leading candidate for the Republican nomination who never explained how he gonna do what he do. That's where I'm trying to go. Donald Trump is the #1 Republican candidate, and tell you with a straight face, I'll tell you after I get there how I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. We need to build a wall in Mexico. How are we going to build it? I'll tell you when I get in the White House. Why are you going to pay for it? Don't ask me till we get in. I'm not telling everything. I mean, just talking to us like we stupid. But it is capitalizing on a climate of polarization. They invite us to City Hall. I want y'all to get this in the beautiful hour. Y'all listen on radio. Eric Garner choked to death, New York City police. Gwen Carr, Esau, is here 2 days later at the rally. We take 1,000 people Staten Island. They decide, and 1,000 people Staten Island that Saturday to march, first march. They decided at City Hall to have a meeting about police, community relations, i.e. Gardner, and invite some of the leaders in Staten Island and the police commissioner and me because I led the march and was working with the family. And the press asked, why am I in the meeting when I'm in the middle of the issue? Because they sell papers with that polarization. What's Sharpton doing there? Well, who was supposed to be there? Somebody's supposed to come tell us what happened in the meeting when we the ones doing the movement around the issue. Now, well, he shouldn't have been sitting up there with Bratton. I've sat up with the President of the United States, been to our convention twice. I ain't caught up in sitting with Bratton. I said yesterday Bratton was sitting right with the Pope. Y'all gonna attack the Pope for having Bratton and me at the thing? Hello? Wasn't Bratton right there with us yesterday? So I mean, but it's to play on this polarization. And they tried to, it's really an insult to the intelligence of their own people. And the polarization has got so bad. So I'm sitting up there at the Pope's thing and flash across my iPhone. John Boehner just quit. I said, huh? I'm sitting up there trying to listen to the Pope and look at this thing. The right wing, Tea Party zealots have exercised so much control to now that the Speaker of the House, with them as a majority, had to step aside because of the rebellion of those that are more to the right than him. Which means if we are not careful, you're going to end up with somebody worse as Speaker. And for the next 14 months, everything we want, from jobs bills to police reform to infrastructure development to climate change, will be stopped because the new Speaker will be afraid he cannot move because they will clip his wing. We must be organized now, stronger than we ever been before. The removal of John Boehner is not a good thing for progressives. And it's not a good thing for us because you're going to get worse. He said that he got up yesterday morning, decided to resign because of the institution. And he, in many ways, will probably be able to stop a government shutdown. But the next person, whether it be McCarthy or whoever, will then know that they better block and obstruct and fight everything. Otherwise, they're not going to last. That means in the middle of this election, you're going to have a Congress that is stuck in gridlock, held by the right wing. That's why you're going to need more than about everybody fighting each other, and we better organize and fight the enemies of liberty and justice. These are very serious times. Let me tell you something. If the right wing wins the White House, and they already have a majority in the Senate, an overwhelming majority in the Congress, and you got a 5-4 lean in the Supreme Court, if they take all the way across the board, then the things that we celebrate from Dr. King forward are all at jeopardy of being reduced or overturned. In the middle of that, you need more than you hollering and screaming at each other. Or talking about how angry you are. They do not care if you're angry. Folk were angry since we got here. It's whether you strategize and can do something about our condition. Amen. These are very serious times. And there are some people that are determined to turn back the clock. That's why we got to be extremely cautious and strategic as we move. I look at all this now on the Democratic side, every day they just are after Hillary, this, that, the other. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. The other two, they act like they ain't even running. Y'all don't even know Webb and O'Malley running, other than O'Malley came to our convention. They don't even mention them. They can mention all 15, 17 Republicans, but you don't even know they folk run on Democrats. Then you got, is Biden gonna run? And they have you playing personality politics rather than public interest politics. Our concern is who is going to preserve our voting rights. Our concern is who's going to reform policing where we don't have Eric Garner's and Dexter Walters. Our concerns are how we deal with mass incarceration. Our concerns are how we deal with poverty. They have come out with a study this week on in school districts that are impoverished and mostly black, the students are underperforming. There is a direct link between poverty and our children not being able to read and write at grade level. Don't talk to me about Biden, Hillary, Donald Trump's mess. Talk to me about education and poverty and police reform. Talk to me like you got good sense. Well, Rev Al, I'm into all that when we get into the politics of it. No, it's not only the politics, it's the reality. As I'm going to preach this week. Paul wrote 1 Corinthians, Kirsten Ford, 13th chapter. He said, if I had the voice of angels, he went through a list, if I had all the wealth, none of it matters without charity. The only thing that matters is what I do for others. All of that don't matter if it's not done for others. Let me tell you something, every time I went, spoke at Rem Jackson's mother's funeral last week, the only thing that will matter when your life is over is what you've done for more than yourself. Whenever I go, I will be remembered for what I stood up for, not for what I left. Now, I'm going to ask you to know what I left, they'll argue about that. If I leave anything. But what people remember will be your chapter, that you stood up and you fought for something. And when you understand that, that is the way adults deal with things. That's why in that same chapter, Paul said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child and put away childish things. Now that I'm a man, I put away childish things. All of this, do you like Hillary or Trump better? Childish things. Is Biden gonna run? Stay tuned. Childish things. Now that I'm not a child, talk to me about grown folks' interests. I ain't no kid no more. Talk to me like I'm an adult with adult concerns. Adults got to pay rent or mortgages. Adults got to educate their children. Adults got to have safety in the neighborhood. Adults got to understand that the cops and the robbers are not after them. Adults got to have health care. Don't talk to me about childish stuff. I don't care how Donald Trump does his hair. I'm trying to keep my head on my shoulders. Put away the childish stuff. Well, I don't know what Rev Al doing. Good. Now let's talk like grown folk. All of this craziness in the way of an adult appraisal of a serious time in which we live. The other thing that I want to leave you on, one, put away childish things, but second, is I don't want you in the midst of all of this right-wing fervor and all of this calamity to get discouraged. A lot of us let our anger run us into apathy, where it seems so dark that sometimes we get dismayed. Movements that make it, movements that succeed, movements that are effective are built on hope, not on despair. Say that again. Movements that are effective are built on hope, not on despair. Now, why am I saying that? When I was growing up, there were those that built some movements on despair. We can't make it. This gonna be it. This, that, and the other. Then Dr. King and Reverend Jones and others said that no matter how dark it is, we gonna overcome. No matter what it looks like, at the end, right or overpower or wrong, those movements are still alive. Don't follow a doomsday movement unless you intend to be doomed. I don't need nobody to tell me how bad things are. I need somebody to tell me how bad it is. If we keep fighting, there's a bright side somewhere. I don't need nobody to tell me that they're going to cry with me. I want somebody to help dry the tears from my eyes. I was reading again the book, and I'll let you go. I was thinking about, we preach, Kevin McCall, about children of Israel leaving Egyptian bondage, headed to the promised land.
Yes.
40 years wandered in the wilderness. Then Joshua took over after Moses and leading them out of the wilderness toward the promised land. But stop right there. We never think about it. What was they thinking about? Imagine if you was one of the children of Israel and you've been led out of Egypt. 40 years you ran around in the wilderness. You watched the leaders of your community switch gods on you. They left the God of Israel, started worshiping golden calves and trinkets. And now you headed to a promised land. You must in your mind say, well, I don't really know if we going anywhere. Like some of us today. Imagine the mentality and the thinking. I'm moving towards something that my elders and my forefathers told me, but I'm not sure it's there. What would make them keep marching, McCall? Well, I tell you what makes them keep marching. It's the same thing that wakes me up every morning and makes me keep going. I don't know the date, I don't know how, I don't know when we're going to get what we're after. So I move and I hope based on what I do know. Oprah got a slogan called This I Know. Where now will we ever have justice with policing? Where now will we ever deal with poverty? Where now will we ever deal with fairness with mass incarceration? No, I don't know. But this I do know.
Yes, sir.
The reason I keep fighting is there are some things I do know. I do know that there is a God that sits high, but he looks down low. This I know, that if God before you is more than the whole world against you. This I know, that he's been better to me than I've been to myself. This I know, he said, if you trust me, I'll make your enemies leave you alone. This I know, that he takes a no and make a yes anyhow. I know the Lord will make a way somehow. I ain't marching marching toward what I don't know. I'm marching because I believe in what I do know. If I went by what I didn't know, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. But when I wake up and I look at the sun and I know that a Congress didn't have to pass a vote for the sun to rise, and know that God is still in charge, this I know, the same God that raises the sun in the morning, the same God that shines the moon at night, this I know, he walks with me, he talks with me, he tells me that I'm his own. When daddy left, he been my father. This I know, this I know, this I know. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Yeah. One last time. One last time. One last time. I'm going to open the doors of the movement. There may be somebody here today. Here's our broadcast every Saturday on the air, on the radio, watches some of our activities on the news, but never became a member of the National Action Network. We have activities here you've heard this morning, from youth development to arts and culture, to stopping the violence in our own community, to health care, to housing. Whatever interest you may have, I want you to become a member of National Action Network. Even if you don't have the membership dues, just come down and shake my hands. If you're not a member, and shake my hand, let me sign you up to the National Action Network. Come on. Everybody singing. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. Yeah. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. All right, let me raise our offering moving quickly. Minister Foy and Minister McCall leading motorcade to Brooklyn on the case. I want you that can to support it. I meant to say while I was on the website, I do a wedding and I'm on my way to DC. I preach at Howard University in the morning. But that's why we had leadership. Come on here, stand over here, Kirsten. Kevin, they've been handling this case, and it's a serious case. And I want y'all to support their leadership. I think that I'm very proud of the young leaders in land. And I ain't just talking about in the youth department. I'm talking about a leading man. Kirsten is not 40 years old and is in charge of the whole region, the whole Northeast region. Last night, the folk with the man killed in Delaware in a wheelchair is on the phone with him. Kevin heads our crisis department, not youth crisis, all crisis. He ain't even 30 years old yet. So we talk about, well, who's gonna take over when Al ain't around? They already in charge of different things. And that's what movements go from generation to generation. People talk about passing the baton. You pass it to who's in the parade. You sit up in the stands wanting somebody to throw you the baton. You get out in the parade. You a spectator. Yellow. All right, let me raise our offering and then we're going to set the motorcade up to follow them to Brooklyn. Again, let the family stand up, Dexter's family. Let them know we're with them. Let them know we are with them. And this is Eric Gardner's mother you're sitting next to, and his wife on the other side. And they're sitting here with, they feel your pain. And we're going to be with you to get to the truth. Here's the wife of Eric Gardner, Esau. They understand what you're going through. And whatever we need to do to get to the bottom of this, we're going to be there with y'all. All right. I guess these are some of the family members and sports. Y'all stand up. Give them a hand. All right, let me raise our offering. I'm trying to look and see if Gil is here. I don't see him. We got a brother down the block that one of our street corner brothers hang out. And I was coming down the other day, and lady said, "Red man, I saw you on Empire the other night." Guys, Gil said, "I knew him before Cookie did." I said, "Well, you be at the rally Saturday and give me something for the network. I don't see him in here. I'm going up the block later on the way to the wedding. Tell him I'm gonna bring Cookie up in here to cuss him out. But I don't talk like that no more in public." All right, where's our offering? I need about 7 people, about 7, that can give $100 or more to come first. About 7 people, come quick. Winston Gilchrist, $100. Change Choir, our Change Choir, $100. Clarice Cunningham, $100. Thank you, Sister Cunningham. Sonia Persha and Jesus Nunez, $100. Thank you.